singing's not all about like having the craziest range and the most impressive ability to hit every note. I think a lot of singing's emotion. I think a lot of singing can be just embracing your unique voice and kind of doing something with it.
Hey, Garrett, what's going on?
I not much. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Awesome. Yeah, of course. I'm Adam, and this is about you and your journey in music, and we'll talk about the album coming out in a couple
Awesome.
weeks
Well, thank you
here.
so much. Thank you, Adam.
Yeah, man. I'm excited to chat. I did see. Are you originally from Northern California? I know the band kind of started in
I am. I'm
East
from
LA area.
yeah. Yeah. I am from NorCal originally. Yeah.
What part? I've lived up in San Francisco area for about 5 years.
Okay. Yeah, I love San Francisco. I grew up in Redding, California, way up
Oh wow,
there.
you're way up there.
Yeah. The record's actually kind of about that part of California too. So it's funny you started with that.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'd love to chat about that as well. So Redding, California, what was it like up there aside from, it's beautiful up there. A lot of redwood trees and everything. It's
Yeah.
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 By
It's
Humboldt, is that close to Humboldt?
Humboldt County. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty close to Humboldt. Uh growing up went to Humboldt a lot. I
Big
think
weed game there.
yes, they call it the Emerald Triangle. From uh from Reading to Humboldt to Sonoma,
Oh,
the
sure.
Emerald Triangle, both for marijuana and for psilocybin, I would say too.
Oh, interesting. And then once you get
Yeah,
down there to Sonoma is more wine country as well.
exactly. Yeah, you have Sonoma and Napa, like wine country. Yeah, the growing up, heard a lot of stories, a lot of legends, a lot of mythology about um, aliens and extraterrestrial craft and
Wow.
Bigfoot, Sasquatch legend. But a lot of that stuff, they do say it's the most paranormal sightings in the world happen around the Mount Shasta area. Um,
Really? I didn't know that.
yeah. There's actually there's a it's like a Christian offshoot. I mean, it's kind of a, just like I guess would be considered a cult, I guess. Called the I Am activity that's based on the idea that there's this ancient civilization called the Lemurians, like small people that live inside of Mount Shasta, and um, that has a lot to do with UFO mythology. That's
What
what the
is it? I
record's
am
about.
activity? Oh, is it really?
Yeah,
Okay, this
yeah.
is
Actually, I
awesome.
got this piece done, kind of like representing what it like Mount Shasta, which is active volcano, and the UFO sightings.
That's right. I
What's
love
funny,
that stuff. It's super fascinating.
the artist who did this piece, I told him about the piece, and he was like, "No way!" And I'm like, "What?" And he was like, "The only time I ever saw a UFO, I was like 12, and I was on a houseboat with my mom up at Lake Shasta, and I saw a UFO." And so like, he was apparently the perfect guy to do it because like
Yeah,
it's a very specific idea, the tattoo, and it was just funny because he had that very specific experience.
that's so
Yeah.
wild. Did you see any of that stuff? I mean, I totally believe in all of that.
Yeah, I haven't no, I haven't had super profound UFO sightings myself, actually.
Okay.
I have had some pretty profound mystical experiences that have informed what I think of when I think of like UFOs and all that stuff. But specifically seeing craft that I'm like, this is a UFO, like there's no
Yeah.
other rational explanation for it. I don't know if I can say that I am one of those people, which is funny because um, I've read a lot of accounts and heard a lot of accounts, both from friends and people on just random strangers. But yeah, so have you had experiences?
I have not, but it's always been really fascinating to me. Like it's like yeah, I've always read into it. I always wanted to like drive to Area 51 and everything,
Yeah.
be I'm from San Diego, so
Okay.
fairly close to, I mean, you're where the band started is kind of like Pomona-ish area,
Yep.
right?
Yeah. East
Okay.
LA. Yeah. Yeah, I love
Um,
San Diego. We're in San Diego.
well, I'm in Nashville now, but I grew up like just a little bit east of like Del Mar area. So about 5 miles inland, like
Yeah.
Penasquitos Poway area.
Yeah. Oh man, it's beautiful out there. I lived for a little bit in Carlsbad, and I just love
Oh, cool.
I love San Diego, especially North County. It's a little more slow paced and
Oh, I was
surfer,
gonna say, yeah, yeah, definitely. I love, yeah, like Encinitas, Carlsbad, all of that area is beautiful.
When did you move to Nashville?
Almost 3 years ago, February
Okay, I moved to
21.
Nashville 2 years ago.
You're in Nashville as well?
Yeah, yeah.
No way. That's wild.
Yeah, East Nashville, right next to Mitchell's.
Okay, I'm south. I'm like down by Franklin area, so I'm not
Okay,
really in
cool.
Nashville, but I just say that
Franklin. Yeah,
because
yeah,
people will be like, "Where?" But if you
yeah,
are here, you're like, "Oh, I know
yeah, yeah.
exactly
Franklin.
where."
Yeah, but when you're in Nashville, everyone knows what Franklin is for sure.
Right? Yeah. If you were like still in, California, you might be like, I don't know where
Yeah,
that is." But wow, that's crazy. So you moved here a couple of years ago?
yeah, yeah. Moved. Yeah. Early 2022. To be honest, though, I kind of bounced around until early this year. I finally found a place.
Oh, cool.
Um,
Very good. How do you like
but
it?
yeah, it's been really good. I'm very thankful. Really been enjoying it. I think I'll always California will always feel like home, but
Hmm.
it's good to be somewhere else right now.
Yeah, 100%. I know. I only knew California. I lived in San Diego for a while, and then Bay Area, and then back to San Diego before moving out here. But yeah, I'm
Wow.
also a
What are the odds
California
we
kid.
both moved from San Diego to Nashville?
I know it's like it's wild though. When we came out here, uh, people were like, "Oh, where are you moving from?" I'm like, "Oh, California." They're like, "You're the millionth person that's told me that." I'm like, "Oh, really?"
Yeah.
Like I didn't even know it was this big influx of people moving here.
Yeah, it's definitely a phenomenon. It makes yeah, it makes sense in certain ways. I mean, I definitely having traveled the country a lot.
Mhm.
Nashville is a place I knew I could live because it's not too extreme. Like it's not too extremely hot or too extremely cold.
Mhm.
Or I mean, the weather is extreme for sure. Like the fact that you'll like get the craziest rain and thunder and wind of your
Oh
life.
yeah.
But it's
Tornadoes ripping
tornadoes.
through. Yeah.
Yeah. But I could never live in a place where you gotta like wear a coat for 5 months straight kind of thing
No, yeah, me
in the
either.
snow. I can't do that.
This is enough snow for me. I think we only got like
Yeah.
1 or 2 days last year.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't even see it. I missed it last year. I think I was on tour when it happened. It was
Okay.
but yeah, it's like yeah, I I respect it, but I mean, yeah, if you don't want to live in a place that has like hardcore snow, that kind of blocks off half the country for you right there. So,
Right.
um
100%.
yeah, yeah.
Well, that's amazing. So well, how did you get into music? Do you come from a creative musical household at all?
No, not at all. Not
Okay.
at all. I literally recently I was visiting my family back home. Um
Are they still in Reading?
yeah, yeah, my
Okay, cool.
family's still there. And I was visiting some family and I saw an old friend and he's a rapper and was like the local rapper and he would collab with like the punk rock bands in high school and they would play shows together. And he told me he was like it's so crazy that like you're doing music full time and like he was just being nice and supportive, but I know that a lot of people from high school probably thought like I was like the most jock of all. Like all I cared about was basketball and winning
Oh,
basketball games
really?
and going to college to play basketball. That was literally the only thing that mattered to me. And I was very tunnel vision and music was like a was I enjoyed music, I guess, because like almost everyone enjoys music on some level. But
Sure.
I had no concept of what music was, how to sing, how to like. I was completely non-musical, and even and until even into the early days of Silent Planet, I would say I was tone deaf. I had like no distinction of like notes, and I had no ability to sing whatsoever until I met Melissa Cross in 2018, and I'll never forget. She spent hours on the piano with me, trying to get me to follow the notes, until finally something clicked. And I stopped being tone deaf that day. By no means did I become Frank Sinatra, but
Well, you
I,
can
I
definitely sing, so
I can sing. Like I can sing now. I'm not great at singing, but one thing I've learned about singing is it's not it's not all American Idol. Singing's not all about like having the craziest range and the most impressive ability to hit every note. I think a lot of singing's emotion. I think a lot of singing can be just embracing your unique voice and kind of doing something with it. And so it's yeah, kind of segues into the album that we are coming out with, I guess, because I sing on that record a lot more than I've ever sang before.
Oh, really? A lot more
Yeah,
clean
yeah,
vocals
yeah.
than
Pretty much
usual,
all the
really?
singing on the record, with two small exceptions, is me on this record. And
Wow.
previous records, it was mostly our bassist who left the band uh very amicably. We're still like best friends. He has a kid and wants to be full-time dad, and I think that's the best decision he could be making. So we really support that. But so our old bassist Tommy used to do the singing, or on the our record that came out a couple of years ago, Iridescent, Mitchell started singing. So on this new record, Mitchell does a little bit of singing. Actually, our drummer Alex does one small singing spot, and then
Oh, wow.
I do probably 80% of the singing. And by singing, I mean yeah, like
Yeah, the
I guess
clean
clean singing,
vocals.
not
Yeah.
screaming, because
Yeah.
I've always done the screaming, but
Sure.
now uh, now I'm the good cop and the bad cop, so to speak. People, often call that kind of metalcore good cop, bad cop.
Sure.
So now I'm just both, I
That's
guess.
awesome.
Yeah,
Real quick on the basketball thing, how long did you end up going to college to play basketball? Or is
kind
it
of,
something you stopped doing?
kind of. I
I
went
love
to a
basketball. It's my
school.
favorite sport.
I tried I tried for a bit. I realized that I was 7 inches too short.
I was gonna say, you must be fairly tall.
I, I'm a hair under 6 foot, so not really.
Okay, you're not very tall.
No, pretty
Not
normal.
short, but obviously not, yeah, like the shortest guys in the
In
NBA are
high
like
school,
six,
I
seven.
was pretty good because like I was faster than everyone and I was pretty aggressive. But
Uh-huh.
then you get on the college level and I'm like, I'm not faster than everyone. In fact, I'm slower than most of these people. And so pretty quickly realized that that wasn't in the cards for me, and started a band. Heard a guy in the dorm playing As I Lay Dying riffs, and I'm like, "You like metal? I like metal." This is like 2009.
Uh-huh.
And uh, his dad turned out to be Sting, the pro wrestler.
No
Like black and
way.
white face paint, Steve
Yeah.
Borden. And so
Wow.
Steve Borden bought us a bunch of equipment and helped us get started as a band. We were called Panopticon. We played like a student talent show thing, and then everyone kind of got over that. I found more people. Most of those people quit, and then kind of started finding in like 2012 the members that would become Silent Planet today. But yeah,
Wow. And so did you go to school in
yeah,
you
in
moved to
LA.
yeah, into
Yeah,
LA? Is that how you got down there to
yeah,
meet the rest of the guys in the
yeah. I
band?
moved there for college, and the band started. The band started as um, sorry, I just got distracted by
Uh,
memory.
no, all
The
good.
band, yeah, the band, and we came up with the name in '09, Silent Planet. Started playing shows in like '09, 2010, and then it was in 2012 that we did our first tour.
Wow.
2013 was our first out off of the West Coast tour. 2014 was the first year that we toured like a ton. Like we toured extensively in 2014. And yeah, here we are today. I think 2014 is when our first record came out as well on Solid State. And
Okay.
this is
So
our
wow,
fifth
so you're
record.
doing yeah, you were doing 2 years of touring prior to even signing with Solid State?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Wow, that's incredible.
we had an EP out
Mhm.
And yeah, like I don't know, we are definitely a bona fide DIY thing. Definitely like didn't skip that step. Did probably did too much of that step, if anything. We hung out on that first step for years. Playing dive bars, garages, parking lots, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
And did that for a long time, and very grateful we did that because I think we are still I think we're more DIY than we're not, I guess I would say, as far as like we still, you know, someone in our band is pretty much figuring out everything
Mhm.
that happens, whether it's merch or gear or driving, whatever. So um, I think we've kept that um, kind of ethos, I guess, of DIY, and still love the, on occasion to kind of play a smaller venue, even though I think now with like our setup and stuff, it's definitely easier to play like a venue that has like the soundboard and stuff. But
Mhm.
yeah, very much did the thing that I think isn't as common these days, where we just kind of play shows. We played shows before anyone wanted to see us play shows, you know?
Mhm.
I think nowadays people kinda get their music out there on the internet, and they wait until there's a demand, and then they play shows, and I
Yeah, I
think
was
we
gonna
did
say,
it kinda
that's
the
how
old
I
way.
feel. I think it's not. I don't think it's like that at all anymore, right? I mean, like, you guys were able to build a fan base and go out and play a bunch of shows for 2 years before you sign a deal and put an album
Yeah.
out, and now
Yeah.
it's like, if you get one song on, TikTok that does something, or Spotify,
Yeah.
it's like, "Okay, and now I might only have 1 song, but, like, now I've gotta, like, build off of
Yeah.
that song." It's like, trying to, like,
It's
reverse
so
engineer
different.
it.
Yeah, things have changed so much. I feel old saying this, but I don't care. I'm okay with being old. I
I'm
just
older than
like
you, so
it has changed a lot, and you know, I I I don't know if it's all for the better. I mean, I would say that about a lot of, I think, the way our world's changed and been commodified on social media. It
Mhm.
is what it is, and I'm not upset about it, but I also don't know if it's a good thing. Like I think those formative years of just playing shows for small amounts of people, really kinda taught us a lot about, like, the music scene being like a community, like, literally a community, like, you eat with these people will feed you, and you will stay at someone's house, like, you're
Right.
on stage being like, "Hey, can we crash with you?" And you end up crashing with someone, and who knows, like, maybe their house is amazing, and you're like, "This is the coolest thing ever," or, like, it's, like, an apartment that, just smells like cat piss, and you get the whole range of it, but
Right.
you learn to just be thankful for what you have, and it keeps you humble, and so, like, you're touring and you're seeing the world, and your friend's like, "Whoa, you're on tour, you're a rock star," and you're like, "No, I play for 5 people a night, and I sleep in a Walmart parking lot." Like, I have more in common with, like, a vagabond, or, than I
Right.
do, a rock star, but, it's cool, and it definitely, like, teaches you how to, it teaches you what matters, and it's a cool way to see the world, too. Because like, you're not on a bus, you can't just, like, retreat to your bus, like, you're out there,
Right.
Even Warped Tour was in a van, just like, we just hung out at our merch tent all day for a whole summer because
Oh my
the van
gosh.
is too hot, and unless you have a
Sure.
bus or a bandwagon or something that has, like, an AC generator, you're just kicking it in some shade somewhere, you know?
Yeah. Oh my, but I have so much respect for, you guys and bands like yours that have done the grind, because I feel like, uh, you have the loyal fan base and the longevity that I don't think a lot of the one quick song on TikTok will be able to do, right? I mean, you're putting out your 5th album, which is, like,
Pretty crazy.
pretty
Yeah, 5.
wild.
5th record, and, it's my favorite record too, which is fun 'cause, I think if I'm being completely honest with you, when we finished and put out our 3rd record and our 4th record,
Mhm.
I felt like that process, I didn't know if it was the process or the product, but I felt like there was I didn't feel the same magic that I felt, um when we did our second record in 2016, Everything Was Sound.
Hmm.
And I really struggled with that. And I had a lot of moments um, throughout not just making the third and fourth records, but like even this, what we're doing right now, like the press and talking with folks, where I just felt kind of disillusioned. I was like, oh, is the magic gone? Like, am I just always going to be looking back in time? And it makes me really happy to be able to say that this fifth record brought all the magic back for all of us, and like the process of it, like even if we come out with this record and people are like, this is ass, like this sucks, and
I don't think
people
that'll
do
happen.
not
I
fuck
mean,
with
people
it.
love the singles. I mean, the songs that you put out thus far are huge.
Well, thank you. No, I feel like it's unlikely, but even if it did happen, I would I know that this record I know that this record really uh this one felt right. Like it just things fell into place in a way that it feels like you can't even you can't contrive it. Like it feels like you were at the right place at the right time. Some people would call that fate or luck. Some people would call it kismet. Some people would just call it divine. I don't know. Like I'm not saying that like our records like the only thing, but as an art, I think every artist who's made a few different things knows that feeling where sometimes it feels like you're just pushing it and it's all the effort that you can do, and
Mhm,
sometimes it feels like you push it until at a certain point something starts pulling it, and then you're like, oh, I'm gonna follow where it's being pulled. This was one of those experiences.
mhm. I know that there was, uh, you guys got in a pretty bad wreck, right? During
Yeah.
the middle
Yeah.
of the do you feel like I mean, I don't know if you mind talking about that. I'm just curious if the first because you what, had first you did the first half of the album, or you had a majority some of it done, right? And then that happened, then you had to go back in, or was I
Yeah,
reading that wrong?
no, yeah, we had written a lot of stuff. Funny enough, actually, the night that our van crashed, um, I was listening to the demo of what became Antimatter,
Oh,
and
wow.
'cause I had I wasn't driving at the time that our van crashed, but I had driven for 6 hours before the crash. Like, I drove, and then, we did a switcheroo. I climbed in my bunk, yeah, we crashed. But,
Mhm.
I I had been listening to the demo for Antimatter, it was called Head at the time, 'cause, um
Oh,
and
interesting.
the funny thing is a lot of the song changed, but I'd give anything to be in Over My Head was still there, and so then we listen to that, then our van flips, I get thrown across the van, I get knocked out, I wake up with, like, the most blood I've ever, seen in my life, and then realized it was my own blood, and then realized that I was literally flipped. I was, like, in over my head. The whole thing was just it was weird,
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
like, even that, like, not to, like, not trying to romanticize the situation, but I think because we all, like, survived, and I think I'm the only person with, like, lasting injuries. My back is not the same. Like, my lower back is probably never that I'm aware of, may never be the same, to be honest with you. But anyways,
Oh my
um
gosh.
so I guess what I'm trying to say is I guess I can if I do romanticize it, I'm allowed to, but, I all that to say, it's funny 'cause even that kind of feels like a little bit like I was pushing on what the song would do, and then there's, like, a pull that feels like
Mm.
something on the other side yanks it. Um, I'm not I'm not saying there aren't, like, obvious physical explanations for our van crash as much as just the fact that even the van crash felt so, I look back at it and it's so intertwined with the process like it was obvious that I had to write about the van crash in that, even though the song also has another way that it fits within the concept because it's like a concept album, and it's kind of a chapter. I
Mm.
see all the songs as like chapters in like a book sort of, and Antimatter is a chapter of it. but also has like a very heavy influence of the van wreck for
Wow.
us.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. I you hurt your back, you said, right? Did you and you
Yeah,
smashed your head
I broke a
open, right?
bone.
You broke
Yeah, I
your
smashed
back?
my head
Oh my.
open and I broke a bone
I
called the
have
pars
had I've had
intra-articularis.
5 neck or 4 at this point neck surgeries. I know.
Whoa.
Yeah,
You
my whole neck is like robotic.
whoa, so you have like do you have like you have like rods
Yeah,
in there?
I've fake discs and then a cage, and they had to take a piece of my bone out of the back of my neck. All
Whoa,
that being
you
said,
must live with a lot of pain,
oh
right?
yeah, it's brutal. Yeah,
How do you deal with that? Oh,
Well,
sorry. I
no,
don't
no,
know if
no,
that's
no.
it.
I now I go to a Chinese medicine doctor. He does like acupuncture, and
Acupuncture, yeah.
he does this one thing where I can't remember what it's called. Like it starts with an M. It's basically like this herb that he burns, and he puts it like on like the needle, and it like I don't. It's crazy
But it works. It's
medicine.
effective for
Yeah, I
you.
mean, it's effective to a certain extent. Like I can only go like this far, and I could feel it like still hitting my nerve all the way down. I had like 3 cord compressions with my disc slipping, uh, and all that. So I could I can sympathize definitely with a broken back. I can't
Dude, you
imagine.
can more than I mean, I can say with certainty that what you're going through is way rougher than what I'm dealing with. I mean,
Well, the pain, back
that's
pain
some
is back
crazy
pain, man.
stuff.
That's
And
gnarly.
well, there was one time, it was actually San Diego, 2016, we were playing a show at Soma, and I
Okay.
ran on stage without stretching, and I like was waving I was like headbanging, but like without any rhythm or like up and down. And I went boom, and I like popped something, and I couldn't move my neck for like a week.
Uh,
And like I still kind of feel some soreness, and I think it's from that, but it's not that bad. But I've had a few times when the neck locks up and you can't move it, and it's like really hard to even think when your neck is in a bad place, and I know you know what that is like. I
oh
mean, you
yeah,
must know
it's
what that's like, where your neck gets so bad where, like, you can't sleep, you can't eat, you can't talk. I mean, it can get so bad. Just props to you for doing this, and
oh
also, like,
appreciate it.
I
Thanks.
wish you the best, man. I hope that modern science, like, figures out some, like, cool new shit or something for you.
Oh, I appreciate it. I hope so too. Yeah, it's been a few year of you know, it's I've had so many, and then it was like after you get one, it just can carries down to like, okay, now this disc is gonna fail, and then so on and so forth. But
Yeah.
did you have to get surgery for your back? I know we're on a tangent here, but I'm just curious.
No, I
Okay.
didn't,
That's
thankfully,
good.
yeah.
I would definitely advise against it.
Yeah, that's I actually, I had a friend tell me the same thing. Thankfully, surgery wasn't even indicated for like the break or the fracture. Is a fracture of
Huh.
the pars intra-articularis. I think what it did do is it kind of my hips are out of alignment. Anyways, I think there's some stuff I still need to figure out. I should probably find a certain chiropractor. I should probably do a certain kind of physical therapy thing. And yeah, it was weird. When the accident happened, the focus was so on my head, and like they did brain
Oh
scans to make
yeah.
sure there was no head trauma, that like the back thing didn't really even show itself until like a couple weeks later. I mean, at least I didn't really start noticing it till a couple weeks later.
Yeah. With your head, were you everything was fine? I mean, aside from getting
Yeah,
like a
everything
gash in
was
your
fine.
head?
Everything was fine. I will say that there was um I will say that it was immediately after, like, I woke up from a concussion and our drummer was not there. Like, everyone else was talking and responding, but our drummer wasn't there. So I legitimately thought of the worst, and I was,
Sure.
like, digging around in the wreckage in my underwear just looking for him, and it's, like, 18 degrees outside, and it's, like, dark, and I thought the worst had happened, but it turned out that, uh while I was knocked out, a trucker had already pulled him out of the van, which told me that I must have been knocked out for some time.
Yeah.
Um, and also I was seeing these like really bright colors in my peripheral, like um yeah, like magentas, yellows, green, just bright, like kind of like TV colors
Hmm.
on the
Yeah, like a
peripherals.
yeah.
And that lasted for quite some time. It was still going on even when I went to the hospital, and it was actually the inspiration for the antimatter video that they're like at a club and stuff.
Oh,
Like my
really?
like the idea was like, what if? Because you see the guy like at some point you see like a van's upside down, a guy's like crawling out of a vehicle.
Hmm.
But the idea of it was like, what if like those colors were like a world that I could like just go further into, you know?
Mm.
So yeah,
Wow. Well, I'm glad you're okay. I mean, that's
thank you.
insane. I mean, especially
I'm
it
glad
was
you're okay, even
snowing.
though like I'm sure you have a lot of days you do not feel okay.
It's yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. But what you guys went through, that's crazy. I mean, yeah, I can't even imagine. With
If
you know
if
that
I go between California and Nashville a lot, can I like bring you weed? Would that help your pain? Does
I,
weed
I
help you?
I it used to, and then but it doesn't anymore. So I've gone sober because of all the pain medications that they've given me over the years and
Oh
everything
yeah,
else. Yeah, it was
Oh, so
brutal.
yeah, well, because that's the thing, right? Like our old member Thomas, he has so he should be dead. He actually set a world record for being hit by a car and surviving. In 2012, a drunk driver hit him from behind and launched him like more than half of a football field. Like the
Oh
fact
my
that
God.
it's psychotic. Like from impact from like where he got hit is unbelievable. Anyways, his whole back is lined with, similar to you, just tons of artificial
Metal.
stuff,
Yeah.
and his pain was unreal. And I just learned from him like it's scary because there's so many pain meds they'll try to give you, but those things are a deal with the devil for sure.
100%. Yeah, it was a long road, and then I did the weed thing, and I had to just try to
Just get sober.
mentally, yeah, get sober and just try to do it this way. But I'll
Wow.
give
Well,
you
dude,
my
that's
no.
that's awesome.
Oh, I thank you. I was gonna say after this, when we're not recording again, I'll give you the guy that I use, and he's in Brentwood, so I don't know if that's super far from you, but
Yeah.
he's really
Well,
good.
I really appreciate that. Thank you. And
Yeah.
yeah, thank you for sharing, and a lot of respect to you getting sober with that kind of pain, because that kind of pain is a fucked up drug of its own.
Oh, 100%. But I
And
really appreciate
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Um, I'm just going back, and I mean, this has been such a great conversation. Thank you so much for talking about all of this with
Oh, thanks
me.
for having me. I know we're definitely not the biggest band, but I appreciate you taking time.
You guys are awesome. No, I
Thank
think
you.
it's cool that just to totally off topic, but you were talking about As LA Dying. You heard your friend playing that. You guys are touring with them or doing some shows with them coming up, right? Or a
Yeah, yeah,
show.
yeah, a couple. Yeah, Empiricon Fest. I think they're headlining like all the Empiricon Fest or something. We're doing two of the dates of it because we'll
That's
we'll be over
cool.
there in Europe supporting a different band. And I think our tour is just gonna kind of like weave in and out of that.
Cool. That's awesome. Well, okay. So how much of the album was done prior to the accident, and then that must have obviously with aftermatter that must or antimatter that one
Yeah.
changed quite a bit, but were a lot of the songs kind of reconsidered or re-looked at after this, and
Oh, for
like did you
sure.
take a new
Yeah.
look on them all, or
Yeah. I'd say about half the record was written at the time. Probably over half of it was written. Um, Musically, lyrically though, not that much, honestly. I'd been trying and struggling, and I think Antimatter was a bit of a breakthrough and helped me kind of get my footing with the album lyrically. But it was and is a very yeah, it was an interesting experience. It was like typically I would write albums about topics. Like our second record is like all like a walk through a mental hospital and like different stories. or like our first record was about like women throughout history who changed the course of history with their love, or the third record was about the apocalypse.
Mhm.
Um, and this record was is about it's more of like a concept album in the way that it's not just about a topic, it's actually about like a specific story. And so it was a unique challenge writing with like not being able to just completely change settings and people and stories, but it was also really cool and kind of let me get into some like maybe deeper emotional territory.
Mhm. Is this the first? I mean, the other albums have or were more themed, but is this the first like real concept album you guys have done, or were
Yeah,
all of
I would
them
say
kind of a
so.
concept? Okay.
I would say so. We're like, yeah, it's the first. It's like a traditional concept record in the way of it's about it's about a person place thing, you know, like in that way. Like it's not because I think all of our records have been heavily topical.
Yeah.
This is like, yeah, a person, a place, and a thing, okay, are all like readily defined, if that makes sense. So
Yeah. And you said it kind of
yeah.
relates back to Mount Shasta and the aliens, right?
Yeah,
How does that
yeah,
all tie
and
in?
a kid who went missing in 1996, and what may or may not have happened then.
Oh, wow. So it's a story. There's an actual real storyline kind of.
Yeah, yeah, we kind of the music will come out first and kind of speak for itself, but then in different little fun and sneaky ways, we're gonna start releasing journal entries that kind of inspired the writing. So yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. So it's I'm looking forward not just to the record coming out, but to everything we have planned that's gonna follow that will sort of maybe give people a more enriched experience, hopefully. We'll see.
That's really cool. And that concept sounds like I love all that stuff, like the aliens, like conspiracy type things, and like this
Yeah.
kid went missing. Like, yeah, that
Yeah.
I love that. Have you ever seen Fire in the Sky?
You know, I actually never watched the movie. I watched the trailer for it, and I watched part of the guy's interview. Was it Joe Rogan he did? Or I don't know if
Oh yeah,
they had
yeah,
him
he
on.
did. He was on Joe Rogan. The guy that wrote the guy that actually was abducted, right? Was
Yeah,
on
and
I
that
think he
was
was on Joe
Williams,
Rogan.
Arizona, I believe, right? Outside of
Yeah,
Flagstaff.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. The movie, I
Yeah, there's
remember
a
seeing the
lot.
movie years ago. I didn't realize that it was like I knew it was like based on a true story or whatever. I didn't know the depth of it until I got older, but it's an interesting
It
it's
is.
an interesting movie, an
It
interesting like storyline.
it is. It's also like yeah, yeah, Fire in the Sky. It's a crazy one. It honestly uh there's a lot of really crazy interesting stuff that happens in that Flagstaff area. As you may know, that's
Mhm.
very heavily Navajo land. Um
Yeah.
and I have a very good friend named Rod. He toured with us in the past. I have a good friend named Rod Cooley who he's of the Navajo Nation. He grew up on the reservation, and he he's told me some really interesting stuff. So honestly, I think he's one of the early people that piqued my interest in
Wow.
this topic. And I think our a lot of the Super Bloom story is inspired, yeah, not just by UFO mythology, but also the interaction between native cultures and UFO. And because I think that I think there were, you know, before the colonization of this land, this was obviously a lot of Northern California was heavily native, and
Mhm.
I think they had a very different relationship with the earth, and thus they had a very different relationship with the other beings than we kind of allow ourselves to have with our modern world.
Mhm. 100%. If even when it goes if you looked at, like, the Mayans and everything that was happening
Yeah,
down in Mexico, like, what they have built and, like, there has to be
Oh,
some connection there to like
yeah,
extraterrestrial life.
there is, yeah, oh, absolutely. You talk about the pyramids.
Yeah,
There's
yeah, yeah.
absolutely, like, one of the few things in life that I would bet everything on would be the fact that Egypt and a bunch of people that they had enslaved at that time did not just build those pyramids. Like the symmetry, the math, the fact that those things only really make sense if you look at them from an aerial perspective. Like the fact that there's rock in the pyramids that came from hundreds of miles away that simply would not have been brought there. Like there's just too much that going on with the pyramids that they're still discovering things about the
Yeah.
pyramids
Well, they're
still.
saying that like they wouldn't even have like a blade that could cut the
Yeah,
the rock or anything. I
there,
mean,
yeah,
it's wild.
there's absolutely no way that it's one of two things. Yeah, either influence from a different from different beings, or a civilization and its technology that preceded all of them that maybe was completely wiped out somehow.
Yeah. No, 100%. Yeah. I mean, because even with the Mayan pyramids, like all the stairs and like, it just is so elaborate. It's like, how the hell would they build
Yeah. Oh yeah, people would
that?
struggle to do that stuff today.
Right. 100%. Well, I can't wait to hear the full album. I love the four that you guys have put out this far, and then the album coming out. I think what 2 weeks on the
Oh,
3rd
wait,
of
you haven't heard the
November.
record?
I haven't heard the full thing yet. I can ask Shane
Oh,
for
okay.
it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, yeah, I'm sure that they're down to send you if you want. I figured that they let you have it, just because the previous person I
I
spoke
might
with
have
today
had it. I might have
had
it,
heard
and
it. Um, but yeah, I'm excited for people to hear it. I think the title track, which is the last song, Super Bloom, is my favorite song we've ever made. Um,
really.
and I just didn't, it's my favorite song by far. I just didn't want to make it a single.
Oh, I
Sorry,
lost you.
I switched to like safe driving mode. Can you hear me
Oh
now?
yeah, yeah.
I uh the last one, because it's the last song and it's like the culmination of the whole story. It didn't feel right to make a single, but definitely my favorite one. I don't think it'll be as popular as Antimatter's been, because I think Antimatter's kind of checks all the boxes for like Spotify playlisting probably.
Hmm.
But and Super Bloom doesn't really check any of the playlist boxes. But I do think it's the best thing we've ever made, and I'm really excited for people to hear the album. So.
Awesome. I'm an idiot because I just found it was buried in my email. It was
Oh well,
under
hey,
an
check it
under.
out.
So yeah, now I
When
wish
you
I would have
send me
known that.
the
I could have listened to it before.
well, when you send me the acupuncture info, just let me know your thoughts.
Yeah, no, 100%. Now I feel like a dick because I didn't see
Oh
this.
no, 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 no,
Because
no.
I have a couple of press releases. I'm like, okay, yeah, and I saw the music, watched the music videos, and
I
had
mean,
some
hey,
information on the Dayseeker tour, and now
we've
I'm,
you have heard 2/5 of the record.
yeah, now
So
I'm seeing it. And the song that you said your favorite song ever, like, yeah, the title track.
yeah,
I
yeah,
can't
top
wait to
track,
hear it.
yeah.
It's a
I
five
can't wait
minute
for you to hear it.
banger.
Yeah, it's a long one. It's
I
like
love it.
that song is like three songs. We joke that that song is like the first third is Jimmy Eat World, the second third is Radiohead, and then the last third is just us, I guess.
Uh,
But it's like as far as I guess like vocally and musically, we're like, who did we rip off? Okay, Jimmy Eat World, and then we ripped off Radiohead, and then we just kind of did our thing.
I love it. Well, thank you, Garrett, so much for doing this, man. I've had a great time talking with you.
Hey, yeah, thank you very much, and I can't wait for you to hear it, and maybe I'll run into you at Dose or something
No,
in
I would love
Nashville.
that. I would
So
love that. I have one more question for you,
yeah,
real quick. I want to know if you
yeah.
have any advice for aspiring artists.
Oh yeah, I definitely do. Don't sign a label deal, um, unless if it's like 50/50 and they're like giving you enough money to buy a house. Don't 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 do labels. And it's coming from like I want to be clear, Solid State's definitely one of the better labels as far as like they're not full of shit and they don't lie and they don't steal. And like the bar is so low, like they're above that. They're far above that, but a lot of labels are not. You know, like um I'll probably get in trouble for saying this, but I don't really give a shit. Like, you know, the Victory Records or like Sumerian Records, like there's so many labels that are just like
You mean
just
Victory Records was ripping people off?
never. No one's ever heard about that. There's not a whole famous band that talks about that. But you know, like it's yeah. I would say don't say. I'd say find your sound. Don't be afraid to take influence from other artists, but like find your sound. Um, Play as many shows as possible. I would say to an aspiring artist, most bands are two people creatively. I believe that whether it's like a family or a band, it's kind of a two-person thing typically. I think most bands need two people creatively. That you don't have to agree on everything. And in fact, you shouldn't. I think that's why two works because you will battle and kind of find the truth in the middle. I mean, the battle doesn't have to be brutal, but it's the push and pull between two creative voices that I find almost every band is two people creatively. Sometimes more, but um, I think a lot of times it's two. So find your musical soulmate would be another one. Um, and just yeah, like know why you're doing it. I think people need a story. So we are narrative beings. So both in your lyrics and also just like as a band, know who you are, know what your story is, like why you. You know, like there's already, you know, Fallout Boy and Bring Me the Horizon and whoever already exists. So like why your band? Um because there is a why, but like you need to find it. It's not gonna like maybe show itself right away. I think your creative voice is the things that you love and your influences, and then also stuff that's unique to you and in your story and your interests. Like for me, I kind of found like different metal influences, and then also like I had a philosophy background and a psychology background, and I put that into it. And so it's like find like identify what you're bringing to the table so that when your influences show up, you're not ripping them off, you're simply like adding to the conversation. So that would be my advice. Bring it back